いとこまで来たな。
Hey guys, ooh, a little hot. Let me see. Let's see here. I know it is high. I don't know why. Hang on. I don't know why my sound settings are. That's what it should be. I'm turning it down a bit. It's amazing. No, that's going too. It's too high as well. No way. I don't understand that sometimes, audio issue. How is it peaking? How is it peaking? I turned the let's see, microphone to a USB device. There's no way. There's no way it should be peaking like this. I don't know. Give me a sec. Let me deal with. Nothing has changed since the last time. Since the last time I did this. Yet somehow it is super high. Let's see. Volume mixer. I haven't turned the mixer down. I don't get why that would. Incredible. I guess I should have checked it. I apologize for not checking it ahead of time. That's what I should have done. Alright, let's see. That looks good, I guess. Turn that down a little bit. Want it to be slightly in the red. I swear there's like gremlins or something. Gremlins that just change your audio settings without you messing with it. Hey, good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Silver Bishop. Good morning, Jack. Good to see you guys. Welcome to the Scarred Thumb Podcast. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful week. Hopefully everything went well. That was pretty good for me, other than being a bit sick during the first parts of the week. It was kind of a shorter week. But I did get to play a bunch of video games. You know, that's one of the upsides of being sick, is that you can play video games. So there's always a silver lining there. And speaking of video games, well, today we're going to talk about video games. Basically preserving video games. Right now, according to this institute, like the Video Game History Institute, there's like 87% of games are unavailable. And I don't necessarily mean that it's completely lost, but you can't buy them. You can't purchase them legally. If you wanted to just acquire a game, you would either have to like try and like buy a retro copy on a retro system, where you have to buy, both, and the prices are just insane right now. So you have to go through all of that. There's also the fact that some of these are live service that aren't available. Some of the stuff, old systems that you can't find. Or they just don't work in modern day, like PC games that just don't work today. There's a lot of challenges. But one company, which I mentioned it last week, GOG. I always call them GOG, but I'm sure they have a different name for themselves. Let's check this out.
The games that made you who you are. The games from your childhood.
They made me who you are. I don't know about that, but
and pass them on. But they are disappearing. Most are gone already.
No.
You can't find them, store them, or play them. All games part of the GOG preservation program, we call them good old games, have been preserved and maintained by GOG. We dug them out from where they were buried and used our own resources to make them compatible with modern systems, controllers, and resolutions, often correcting game-breaking bugs in the process.
And on my border here.
We commit to maintaining them compatible. Our guarantee is that they work, and they will keep working. On GOG, your gaming legacy is always in your hands, not anyone else's. These are your games.
That's GOG. I guess that's what they call themselves. And this is their preservation program. It's really, really cool. I watched this interview. I'm going to play a little bit of it from this is what's on Resident Arc, talking about basically GOG's preserving old games here. It's a very cool, very interesting topic. It's something that I think if you're gonna like take video games seriously, you take it as like an art form. There needs to be some sort of effort to preserve them. And I think it's like even more challenging than something like movies, where it's just a movie. I mean, you can like do HD, you can remaster it, but even then, like even if you don't have that, you can still play it. But some of these some of these video games, you have to like try and get them to work with modern operating systems, modern hardware, and that could be, you know, an extra challenge all its own.
You might say that we are kind of back to good old games, meaning that we kind of realized that this problem of you know, games disappearing and being not only disappearing, but their quality deteriorating over time with new operating.
And this is like an issue with
hardware and
like
so on
Dawn
and
of
so on.
War.
It's
You can
actually not
barely
getting,
get it to work.
you know, better. It's actually getting much worse. So we kind of thought to ourselves, hey, we are actually already doing it for a lot of years. We have a lot of experience. So maybe this is actually something that we can like focus our platform fully on to build, you know, GOG and our position on addressing that problem, right? And through the growth of the platform, we will be able to do it better and better and better. And maybe one of those days, you know, we'll be able to bring back most of those 87% of the games that are not available nowadays. It seems like a weird number. When
Yeah.
I saw it actually for the first time, I was
It
like,
does
yeah,
sound
this can't be
unbelievable.
true. That was my first take on it. But then, you know, we have a lot, like a collection of gaming magazines from the 90s. So we did it like that. So
That'd be an interesting thing to like look in
30 years ago.
in an old like Nintendo Power or Game Informer,
Of the games that are there.
and then like think
And
about
most of them
try and
are
see like,
very
oh,
good.
how can I buy this
Currently
skit today?
Not available. So I was like, okay, this is actually true.
Yeah, I think it's 100% true. It's probably even more when you think about all the games that Nintendo has in their backlog that aren't available. Like you can't buy it right now. That's what they mean by available. Like you can't purchase a copy of the game and play it on any sort of like modern hardware, maybe even like any sort of like, you know, through the company. I mean, there is of course back channels, you know, the secondhand markets, eBay, that kind of stuff. All of that's there, but you can't get it through Nintendo. They're sort of like virtual emulator, you know, thing like Nintendo's for NES, SNES. You know, that it's just kind of like a lot of their first party stuff. They even have like a Sega one, but that's incredibly limited to their catalog. You know, what's available there, and like Capcom will release some like old collections, but they have a ton of stuff that's, you know, back there that isn't available right now, and it is kind of crazy. And I don't know if this is going to continue to work,
so
but
still a lot of work to be done.
maybe this will help influence people to release it.
DRM, what that practically means is that you can launch the game without any internet connection.
And that's another big thing that that GOG is always focused on, is that there's no DRM, so you don't have to have the internet to launch it. And this is like from like a preservation standpoint, having an internet connection, stuff like Steam, can be pretty bad for. I mean, because there's no guarantee. I mean, there's no guarantee that GOG will last forever or Steam, but you know, if you want to have a copy of your stuff, like say the apocalypse happens, and you have a computer or a hard drive somewhere with these games on it, they'll still launch. You know, they'll still survive.
Any, you know, CD keys, anything like that. The game simply always.
CD keys are DRM.
In like 2008, 2007, one of the main problems the gamer had is a lot of the games that were released only a couple of years ago, with all of those weird DRMs in the early 2000s, like Securom and other like that, they basically like stopped working.
It is crazy to think it's 2008.
Because some of them actually required internet connections. It was a very weird period in time. So all of those, you know, all of those games, practically speaking, were kind of lost. You bought it, you know, you were honest. You didn't pirate it, and you know, 3 years later, you cannot launch it. for whatever
That's
reason.
wonderful.
Unless your, friend who pirated it, he is still able to enjoy that title, and not only that, he has absolutely all of the additional content that was added to the game at launch that was exclusive, I don't know, to GameStop, to Walmart, to whatever, because those were the times where that was happening, right?
I remember those days, man. I remember those days, but it is insane. It is insane how much the normal customer got screwed over during those times. Like, oh yeah, you bought the game. Well, you have like worse chances are, like sometimes with some of the DRM, you have like worse performance on your stuff. You don't get the exclusive content. It doesn't work. It's just amazing how badly the paying customer got treated. And in some ways, there's probably instances that they still don't. With Steam, you can use offline mode and installation of Witcher. Yeah, you definitely can. Some of the games you can use with Steam. So it's not exclusive to GOG, but the fact that they're made sure like all of their stuff does it is pretty cool. Not not sucking Nintendo's PP, but or dick. I guess I prefer that enough in the podcast. I can cuss. But what do the licensing and royalty situations look like for a lot of these legacy games currently unavailable? Yeah, that's one of the issues is for releasing it. Is it something that they just if they just like use like a games catalog, which I guess Nintendo's not interested in, just having it available. It's not like a Game Pass is with like Microsoft or PlayStation. I'm sure with Game Pass they'd be willing to have that kind of stuff available, where they could probably track it and say like, hey, you get so much money for every like install, every time someone installs the game and play. I don't know about playing it, but probably like per install of the game from Game Pass, the developer gets a certain amount of money. So yeah, there's a lot of like IP copyright kind of issues to work through, where everyone wants a cut of their game. They don't just want to sort of give the IP away or just make the IP available for everyone to use. So it's not like like public use or just like I guess that it would be public domain. Not yet, at least. So it's people would just rather just hold on to it and just let it kind of collect dust.
So basically, as a honest customer, you were kind of treated pretty badly, while at the same time, the pirates were getting the premium experience with absolutely everything. So when we started GOG, was that was basically was us saying like, hey, there's a problem here, and we can fix this, we can solve this. So that's why one of the core principles of GOG was always the DRM-free build that has absolutely everything in it that is necessary to launch the game on any PC, any modern PC at the time, without internet connection, without any clients, without any special codes or whatever.
This is a very like cool way to kind of differentiate yourself from other platforms like Steam being the biggest, or Epic Games. They're trying to they're still going at it. Like there was Epic, I think, was releasing a deal like you don't pay Epic any sort of money for like the first $1 million in sales, I believe. So like developers can keep all of that money if they release it on Epic, which sounds like a good idea if they want to kind of expand their indie catalog. I'm sure though that the issue always is like with Epic or even GOG, you're not going to get, for like newer games, you're not going to get the exposure that you're going to get with Steam. And I think a lot of people they do make a commission on sold games for sure. But I don't know if it's as big as Steam Because Steam, especially for like indies, I think takes 30%. You know, if they don't sell enough, like if you're a bigger game and you move enough copies, basically like they give you a better percentage, like, you know, like 10 or 20% or something smaller. They make deals like that. Like I said, Epic is willing to like remove the commission for sales under $1 million, and then after that you start paying a commission. So they're trying to like kind of differentiate themselves. And there's stuff like itch.io, which takes less. But like, so for smaller devs that don't, you know, they want to get as much money as they can from their sales as possible. Like, to me, like coming from retail background, 30% doesn't seem like a ton of money. You know, like the retailer always gets like a 30 to 50% on a lot of their goods, just to make it, you know, worthwhile to carry it. Of course, you know, with Steam, they don't have a lot of the stuff like, I'm not sure they have different costs involved than like a retailer would, but right now I think you're mostly paying just to be on that platform where there's just so many people right now. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that other people have to compete with. But at the same time, if you're like a real enthusiast, you hate DRM, you like this kind of stuff like preserving old games, this is definitely something worth looking into.
Yeah, and this is basically what GOG Game Preservation Program does, is that we ensure that the games for now will be working on Windows 10 and 11. Because admittedly, we did neglected it for some time, and many of the games that we already have in the catalog have some issues in launching once the transition to, I think, Windows 10 appeared. So now that we are going back, and all the games that are getting the GOG Preservation Badge are actually the games that we went to, checked if they work. If not, then we applied some fixes. And now we are make sure that they will work on Windows 10 and 11, and in not so far future, Windows 12 as well. As for Linux and Mac, for now we are not supporting the full compatibility for those titles, but we are looking into that to like, you know, broaden up this one a bit.
There is a certain quality standard
Yeah.
that we set for ourselves for those games that we are selling.
This is something that pissed me off about Okami.
Although all
Like
of the games that we currently
it would
have,
shrink
they do launch,
and go into like window mode if you alt tabbed out of it.
But
It was
there might
super
be certain
annoying.
issues with them that are caused by the newest operating systems. Like, for example, we had games where you know, the game works, but when you change the resolution, it crashes. The game works, but if you alt tab the game, it doesn't go back, or it crashes altogether. We had games with, you know, with the save files being corrupted, becoming corrupted in some scenarios, and so on and so forth. So right now we are getting back to all of those games, and we are making sure that all of them work as you might expect a title that was released yesterday to work. Meaning that, you know, alt tab works, so you can minimize the game. You can have like a 5-monitor setup. It will work. Ultra widescreen. It will work. So yeah, you have a newest controller from, you know, PS5, Luna, wherever. All of those are supported.
Yeah, and that's a really cool that they're actually making sure that their old games work. Like, I've had issues with Dawn of War playing it off Steam. Like I was mentioning, Okami had an issue with alt tabbing, and then like it would go to Windows and windowed mode, and it just so many like annoying little things that just make the experience worse. You know, it just annoys you, because especially with Okami, like I've said it before, but you can't change it back to full screen when you're in game. You have to go back to the title screen to change it back, and that's nuts to me. That's absolutely nuts. I'm like, oh god, I gotta like stop my game, like find a save point, exit the game, go to the title like settings, and then change it back to the full screen mode, and then go in. Let's see with video. Let's see what we got. Talking about video games. Copyright's not an issue as yet, as copyright expires in 80 years or so after the death of the artist and release. And like, yeah, and I think one of the issues is like the with some of these games, like sometimes the music will be owned by somebody. Sometimes, maybe the art or, certain stuff will be owned by one person as well. Or, does Square Enix own, like the copyright, or does the company that made it, the publisher or the developer? I know there was like some issues like Harvest Moon, like the name Harvest Moon was owned by the publisher, but the developer kind of like split off and they did their own thing. And then like, the Harvest, like the developer that made Harvest Moon is making a different game. I think it's like Story of Seasons. Meanwhile, the old publisher is releasing like these like new Harvest Moon games with a completely different developer. So like in essence, they're not Harvest Moons anymore. They're just sort of like stealing the name from it, making like this sort of like a shadow, like the Skinwalker version of it. Am I clipping? Like, I don't know what happened with my audio this day. I haven't changed my audio at all, and all of a sudden it just started giving me issues. I don't know if I'm still clipping or not. It doesn't show on my mic or on OBS, but I could be. I know it was clipping when I first started. Let me know. And how's it going, Ryan? Good to see you. Let's see. But there's a lot of stuff. Epic is a trash company. By trash people to begin with. No sympathy from me. Yeah, I mean they're just trying to like. I assume they just don't want to pay. A lot of those people just didn't want to pay Steam, and not to mention like again it is really high. I don't know why. I don't know what the hell happened with my audio settings. But the video sound is low. Okay, the video sound's a little low. Well, that's fine. I guess if it's, I'll turn it up in case you need to hear it. But I don't think I have much video to go through. And there is like a really cool stuff. Like they released Breath of 4 on their platform. Able to get it, and I really love the pixel style in this game is gorgeous. And of course, they heard the feedback. They released a hot fix that lets you experience the game in the PSX-like style. So they are even releasing like filters because some people were like kind of doing workarounds. And they're doing like sort of workarounds to sort of change it to this style. And then, GOG saw that and like, hey, we can make this a thing here. So to achieve this, we added 2 new rendering options, point sample and bilinear. So you can kind of change it and look at it. So that's very cool. So they're definitely doing what they say they do. Another big, oh, by the way, like check out this Resonant Arc. This is the on screen. I have the name Preserving Good Old Games. That was the full interview. It's very interesting because they go a lot into like this sort of wish list that they have on GOG where people can kind of wish list, add their games that they want. To add into this. So they have this sort of master wish list. Of course, Dawn of War is one of the games that I'd love to see get some treatment. Basically, it is available on Steam right now. It's not like lost, but like I said, it does not work very good right now. It'd be nice for it to get some love as far as compatibility with Windows 10. Like you don't have to like Alt Tab as much. Maybe even have it work on higher resolutions. It would be really good. This was one of the top games, and this was like just a blast from the past. Digimon World back in 1999. I remember playing this on the PlayStation. It had like a bug that I ended up losing a lot of my progress, like Gearmon's Jukebox, I think it was, where like if you played it and then like I couldn't access my save file, I had to restart. I was super pissed because it's one of those things. They even called customer support to see if they could help me because you lose all your progress. It was super annoying. I think I eventually beat it. I mean, it was This is a really old game. I think it was pretty fun though. If I recall having some fun with it. I ended up getting I forget which Digimon. It's been a long time since I played Digimon, but I saw this. I'm like, whoa, that's a blast from the past. I guess that's again another like lost media. Like I don't know if you let me just type in a Digimon World on eBay and see what this is going for right now. How much would it cost you to? Holy smokes! Is this for real? Are they? This is kind of shit you have to deal with. They're asking for $152 for the copy of this, and like this is an old CD. This is one of the issues with like physical media too. Is how long are the CDs going to last? I mean, some of the press discs work longer, and that was one of the issues with like stuff like limited run games, where they were basically releasing it on like CDRs to save money, and which one has some issues like they might not work on the 3DO, but it also, in terms of preserving it, like CDRs will rot far faster than press discs. So like without a digital release of this, I mean, thankfully there's like, people, breaking the law essentially and like putting it on emulation and that kind of stuff. So you can still play it, but not everyone wants to figure out how to use an emulator. Not everyone wants to like, I don't think it's like illegal per se. Like maybe some other countries that's more punishable than others. Like I think Japan's pretty strict on copyright law, but there's just no way to play it. Either A, you have to pay out the ass for a physical copy. B, you have to go like try to find an emulator site, which can be hard to do, since a lot of people kind of strike that down. Especially like I think like some Discords, it's against terms of service, that kind of stuff. So a lot of people kind of stay away from it. You almost have to kind of like whisper to somebody like, "Hey, like how do you?" Maybe on X you can talk about it fine. But it's hard to find copies like this, and this is another one, Mushi Hime-sama Futari. This is a game that's not available. It was released on the Xbox 360. You can't do it now. It's not available for the public. You have to buy a 360 copy. I mean, you got 90. Dang. $99, $94.99, $99, $74. I mean, you have to pay crazy amounts for this to get it. Basically, it's more than it was on release. You have to get an Xbox 360, which I mean isn't super expensive, but you're like $150, $150. And there's some like for like 74. It's not like the days, those old like bargain bin days where it's like, yeah, GameCube, $20. Here you go, just take it. Like a GameCube, $50, brand new. When they're just like selling the stuff in the bargain bin for like nothing, for peanuts. Everyone realized, oh wait, this is actually pretty. This will be worth money someday. So we gotta hold on to it. People are willing to spend money for these retro consoles, so we better not just give them away, buy them up and resell them on eBay. I guess the online retailer became a thing, and it kind of made it so like anybody can just buy it up and try and resell it. So I lost a lot of my childhood games during Hurricane Charlie in 2004. Lost the rest during the following storms. I almost want a safety deposit box for gaming. Yeah, that's the other issue with physical media is, there's fires, someone could steal it. You have a thing like Hurricane Charlie or floods, if you're a flood area. Hurricanes can happen. Of course, I live in Florida as well, so that's definitely an issue. Thankfully, my house has never been knocked down by a hurricane, but it's a possibility. You never know what can happen. Tornadoes. So physical media can be destroyed in tragedies like that. Digital media, though, not all the servers will be destroyed, I hope. But that's kind of the issue you have with with these games nowadays. It's hard to play games, even if you like games. You can't games that you want to play. You can't unless, of course, you emulate them, which I do need to. I do need to get figure out how to emulate this. I've been meaning to do it. There are just so many other games that I have in my backlog that I want to play that I don't necessarily need to emulate. Find the games to emulate, but I do want to try Mushihime-sama Futari sometime soon. But that's GOG. So you check out GOG if you haven't before. I really like what they're doing. I'll have to try and make sure I buy some of the games that they have them available. And I hope upload Dawn of War and Mushihime-sama. It's poor. Like that's poor. You look at Digimon World, it's got like 45,000. Poor Mushihime-sama, only like 87. The problem is, like, if you look up Mushihime-sama, they got like 4 different things. Mushihime-sama. That's a mouthful. Wait, did I misspell it? Dang it. I misspelled it. Like, you look at Mushihime-sama, they got like 2 different, they have so many different versions of the game. Or like Dawn of War. You put Dawn of War, they've got like 4 different versions of Dawn of War on here. They got Dawn of War 1, 2, Chaos Rising, Dawn of War 3, Dawn of War 2, Dawn of War Franchise Collection, Dawn of War Limited Edition, Collector's Edition. Like, they just list, like, you put it in Dawn of War, there's like several different versions of it. So I don't know how you're supposed to get like upvotes for these. I still have my childhood gaming console. My sister still has her Atari. Wow. Yeah. It's cool to have that stuff in like an attic somewhere. You can pull it down one day. But, you know, there's always, like I said, some stuff can happen. Hopefully it never does, but it can definitely happen. So, but let's move on. Let's talk about Nintendo. Nintendo, always in the news. This was an interesting thing. I hate Daniel Ahmed, but this was a kind of interesting thread he had on this. Actually, man, it's probably better if I just unexpand it. Keep it unexpanded. So, 3 charts on Nintendo's expenses. Nintendo's plans to increase advertising spending 82% year over year in April 2025. March 2026 to align the Switch to launch. Orange bar. Highest ad spend in company history, but remains just 7.4% of revenue last year, which is very cool. I'm glad they keep the advertising low, but they're still increasing their ad spend. R&D is hit a record. So they just keep on going up and up and up. And an increase further next year, not a huge increase. Is ramping up hiring and working a greater number of projects. Though it is kind of employee count increasing as well. It does make me worry a little bit about if they just keep on like increasing employees, just growing bigger and bigger. At one point, do they kind of like lose themselves? And you've seen it in a lot of companies like Blizzard, where at some point they just kind of become like a different company. You know, Blizzard of old, though, Nintendo has been able to hold out. They have a lot of people that's kind of like risen through the ranks, but eventually that old guard's going to go away. Like Miyamoto is not going to live forever. Eventually he'll retire. You know, Iwata passed away a while ago, and I think that definitely changed the direction Nintendo's going in. So it could all be, this could all change. And when you have just giant, if you grow and become this giant corporation, you know, stuff gets lost. It just seems eventual that things change. As you get bigger and bigger, you kind of lose your identity. Yes, people kind of like become less important to sort of artistic integrity, and it becomes more of a management situation rather than an artistic situation. So it's a little bit concerning. This is really concerning. So the new user agreement does not miss words. You acknowledge that if you fail to comply, this is a new user agreement that Nintendo put out. You acknowledge that if you fail to comply with foregoing restrictions, Nintendo may render your Nintendo account services and or the applicable, and this is the part that the applicable Nintendo device, as in like your video game system, permanently unusable in whole or in part, it says. So people are interpreting this as like Nintendo can just brick your system if you try to modify it to play ROMs, and they somehow can detect that they can just brick your system straight up. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. I don't know how in the world they'd be able to do it. That seems like they wouldn't be able to do it, or it wouldn't be. That certainly wouldn't be popular. This is from Dextro. Major changes to their user agreement, and they kind of go over some of the lawsuits. But Game Files, Stefan Tolio, Nintendo will be able to brick Switch 2 systems that bypass, modify, decrypt, defeat, tamper with their games and services. Now, how do they detect it? I don't know. But at some point, like, there's been some issues where people like modify their game, then all of a sudden, like, they try to play an online game, and the second they connect to the internet, through their system, they're able to realize that, hey, you're using a modified system. And then, like, of course, they either ban the account or they don't let you play online. So I know this happened with Splatoon 2 players. Like, I think it might have been Splatoon 3, where they would like modify to like get stuff, some like unavailable equipment, and then all of a sudden, like, they try to play online for some idiotic reason, and then it would basically would realize that it's been modified, and they ban your account. But this is at least like you could still use the system. But basically, what this is saying is that they could brick the system, which would be crazy if they do that. It would be insane if they went that far. Of course, right now this has a. I don't know. Do they have a kill switch? That would be crazy if they do. Maybe this is just like legal speak, where they say like, "Hey, we're giving you the. We could do this." Maybe they can. Maybe they do have like a kill switch, a code. It's like shut it down. They just boom and just brick your switch. It would be amazing if people would be able to like find like some way to actually initiate that. Like hackers could initiate that on their own, and then brick other people's switches. That would be an interesting. If that did exist, that they had that capability, and some hacker found a way to initiate it on other people's consoles while they're playing online. Like you just enter a lobby and then all of a sudden your Switch is bricked. That would be kind of funny. I mean, it would suck for those people, but the fact that if the Nintendo did have that sort of a back door and then it was discovered, it would be pretty funny if that happened. But crazy language from Nintendo. They really take this stuff seriously. Not in a good way, though. Not really in a good way. And this was an interesting article. And not surprising. Expect first-party Nintendo games to be released on the original Switch until 2026, at the very least. I haven't covered SC2 yet. That's going to be my game of the week, so it happens right at the end. And I'm not surprised. I could even see this happening 2026. I could see it even happening beyond. The Switch 1 has an insane player base. They've sold like over 150 million copies of the Switch. There's no way you have that player base, people that have that. And I'm sure not everyone's going to get the Switch 2. Not everybody's going to buy it, especially with the price that it has. There should be plenty of Switch 1 users still around. So I could definitely see indie developers wanting to stay on it because it's cheap. It has a huge player base. It's, obviously it's handheld, so I think it suits a lot of those smaller games, those like 30-minute games, like roguelikes or even like shoot 'em ups, or those like little arcade type of games that you just play on like the ride to work. It really works with that kind of stuff. So I can definitely see the Switch 1, especially if it's, I think it'll benefit Switch 2 as well, if it's really easy to kind of like move it from Switch 1 to Switch 2 or make it available on both. It's, I think, a no-brainer. Though I do kind of worry, like, if they're just straight up making games that are compatible for both the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, like first party, does that kind of limit what they're going to do as far as, graphics and that kind of stuff to basically make it all right for the Switch 1, but, just kind of looks. I don't want my Switch 2 games just to be like a graphical upgrade from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2. I want to like really make use of the hardware in terms of like what they can put on screen and how it look. I feel like the Switch 2 is going to have the Wii U issue. I don't know. I mean, it sold super well on the pre-order. I don't know if that's going to be an issue like long term. Maybe it will. I don't think it could sell as well as the Switch 1. I think that was like a freak incident, especially with COVID and all those like all that free money that was being pushed into the economy during that time, and people just having to stay home. I don't think he can meet that sort of. So the Switch 1 was like a freak incident. I still think the Switch 2 is going to do all right, though. I don't think it's going to sell 150 million, but if it sells like 70 million, or I think they're probably shooting for like 100 mil. I think it's still going to do all right. It certainly sold very well. It sold very well in pre-release, so we'll see. Of course, like a lot of that stuff was bots too, trying to scalp the shit. So you never know what the actual like until it's released and things shake out. You don't know what the actual demand for a system is. But moving on, this was an interesting article. Thank you, Bloomberg. I'm so glad you want me to disable my ad blocker. Then you just fill the screen with a bunch of shit. But this was from Bloomberg by Cecilia D. Anstancio. I think that's right. So basically, it covers Genshin Impact, MiHoYo. 62 billion from smartphone players, just an insane level. But is Endless Zone Zero, they generated 8.4 billion on mobile, just insane numbers. But one of the things that it points out, let's see if I can find it, just scan through, that where did it mention it? That Endless Zone Zero actually did not do well, or as well as it was hoping. Sales at the closely held company fell 32% to 1.4 billion in 2024. So Endless Zone Zero did not meet the numbers that it was hoping for. And at this point, it's not looking great for, like, basically at this point they've kind of overdone the system. Like they've reached saturation on this type of game, where this like sort of like RPG style gacha game that you buy the characters. They're all very similar between like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Endless Zone Zero. They might have like one's open world, one isn't, but very much the gacha system in it is very similar. It has the same like upgrade structures. It has that same compulsive game design. And basically at this point, they're starting to eat each other. Let me see if I can find the game. And they do a lot of it, a lot of the stuff. Expanded from varied reach. They just talk about a lot of like the history of it. They really fluff this out. Here we go. Endless Zone Zero, in its most recent foray, did not perform on par with the company's expectations, according to people with knowledge of the company. In its launch quarter, it earned less than half of its anime predecessors' opening revenue, according to Sensor Tower. So not not a great start for poor Zenless Zone Zero. I really like the presentation of Zenless, but of course, it has the same gacha structure as all of them. They're dealing with cannibalization, said Century Tower Analysis Sam Ayun. The launch of Zenless Zone Zero shows they may be approaching market saturation for what they can do with role-playing games. The company is now building games with more touch points for non-otaku. It's taking a leap of faith, according to one current employee who requested anonymity on its website. For example, job postings reference a shooter game. So maybe they're going to shooters. They also mentioned in this article they're going into AI. So a lot of employees manual wax poetically that games built around AI-generated content, something akin to Roblox Corp, but with 3D visual assets instantly created upon a user's command. So they're going into AI. They might be trying like AI waifus, maybe like gacha AI waifus, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea what they're planning out as far as miHoYo, but they obviously mentioned that it is supported by China's government. It has the backing. It has a ton of money. It's still making a ton of money. It's still making billions of dollars. So even though Zenless Zone Zero might not be doing as well as they wanted, they're still doing. It's still making quite a bit of money, and they still have quite a bit of money. But it's kind of good to see, honestly, that they've kind of reached saturation on this stuff. Yeah, you can only release so many, because all their games look very similar in terms of their art style. They're all very similar in terms of their gacha structure. At some point, it's good to see that people are like realizing, like, hey, maybe I don't need to play the same game over and over again. I don't think it's the death of gacha by any means, but it's good to see that it has a limited reach. You can't just keep on sucking people into these sort of gambling simulators. They sold Violet and Scarlet. Pokemon games going to sell a lot of Switch 2s, yeah. It's so amazing that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, actually, it's amazing that they sold so many copies. Like, it was so panned, and so, like, everyone was posting these sort of, like, visual bugs of Scarlet and Violet and these screenshots of how bad the environments looked. And it still sold 26 million copies. And that is insane. 26, 30 million, whatever. It's so crazy that Pokemon's just, like, guaranteed to sell money. It's guaranteed money. But rather than trying to invest and like make the best game possible, Pokemon Company decided, hey, let's cut corners and release it as quick as possible, and then we can maximize our profits. It's just pathetic. It's pathetic. They know it's going to sell. Legends ZA is going to sell very well too. That's just one of the things that annoys me about Pokemon. Is like it should be one of the best games. It should be like on par with like Legend of Zelda in terms of its quality, but it never is. It's going to make so much. It's going to outsell Zelda. Yet still, they just seem to cut corners. They just don't seem to have the same level of talent in making their games that mainline Nintendo game does. And it's annoying. It annoys me at least to see that happening when you just know it's going to sell like crazy. But let's move on to some funner Half-Life 3. Just some fun stuff to end it with. Half-Life 3 is in development, but it's not playable end-to-end. It's now playable end-to-end, apparently. That's a rumor out. Half-Life 3. Could we be getting Silksong and Half-Life 3 in the same year? Would that not be insane? Two of these fabled games that have been in development hell for forever, rumored to come out. People doubting that they will ever be released. It could happen, guys. It could happen. I have faith. Look. So this isn't the first. They're not the first government to do this, I think, but official government of Pakistan account posted an Arma 3 video game clip as combat footage. Great work. Apparently, This beginning clip is is from Arma 3. Where you see this jet. I don't know why people speaking Arabic like this is so funny to me. It just makes me laugh. Hopefully I won't get like banned like Ryan did for that or like a copyright strike for an ISIS joke. I don't think this is the same thing. It sounds like ISIS to me, but it's not. This is official Pakistan cow. Oh boy. Arma 3 video game footage. Yeah. Might as well use it in your propaganda. Why not? Why not? What would you expect more from the government of Pakistan or India to use fake footage? That was just funny. I love seeing that. This was also we got a Japanese streamer here wearing he's over at Evo. He's having fun. He's got the tinfoil cap here to stop his opponents from reading his mind. Good to see. Good to see him representing the sort of Alex Jones audience. Having fun. Having fun there playing. This was a really cool thread. This is some more like more lighthearted stuff. So this was video game thread about game cover design that used sort of modeling clay like look. And these look really cool. Sort of in order to make their stuff like stand out as stuff, but like you look at Xanadu, the sort of like artwork for this. It's really incredible. The way it looks, like the textures and stuff you see in this. I love the guy's smile. It just sort of stands out in a way that you don't see anymore. I love this guy's face. They look way too happy. That guy's looking way too happy to be punched in the face right now. Hey, good morning, Nuke. Good to see you. Also, good to see you guys. I don't know if did I say hi to John Watts? I probably didn't. And the first 48 Gaming. Good to see you too, sir. I love some of this stuff looks so cool. I miss this kind of like art style. Made stuff in modeling clay. Bubble Bobble. Good old Bubble Bobble. It really suits that style of game. And then you have, I like this, SD Snatcher. These like chibi style arts. This one was badass. Damn. Got the castle. Guy tripping over with a treasure chest. Those are really well done. Just to really appreciate the style of art here. The artistic talent needed for this kind of stuff. Beast Warriors. Whoa. You just don't see this kind of stuff anymore. And of course you have Secret of Mana. Very cool. I love the face. Just the way it looks is just, you can't even capture this I think in 3D the same way that you can in clay. Even making those sort of models. There's just something about it that's different. That's amazing. Super talented. Really stands out. This is a really cool thread. I think this was a guy named Bruno de Figueiredo. Really cool to see that the kind of like old style of art. It's a shame that sort of like digital stuff has kind of pushed it out, because I like I say, I don't think it looks the same as this old stuff. There's just something a little bit missing. I love the face. That's great. That's just a cool thread I wanted to share with you guys. And man, I hate Universes Beyond. I really do. I don't like this sort of like IP mixing in Magic the Gathering. I think they should focus on their own shit. But at least, Final Fantasy is high fantasy. So, and they got the original artists that did, the Final Fantasy, at least the, Japanese Final Fantasy 4 covers, to do original art for like Terra. And this stuff looks amazing. I love this sort of style he has. It's kind of a, I don't know how to describe it, but you know, it's a little bit abstract, but like the colors and everything look really, really great. The way that sort of like the color pops on it's like kind of like a desaturated type of look. It's very cool. So they did for Terra. They did this stuff for Kefka as well. Looks really cool. And of course, yeah, that's like Aerith here, like a cute anime style. This is more conventional, but it still looks good. But if you look at prices, well, let me go to CCG Player and type in Final Fantasy Collector Booster Box here. Let's see. What are we looking at here? I want Magic the Gathering. They've got so many different Final Fantasy has had a ton of different card boxes here. Can we get MTG here, please? So let's see. Pre-sale. 6 of 6. Interesting. So I think this is the price for a single box right now is $700. Is that what oh wait, Japanese language one, you can get it for only $500. That's really cool. Final Fantasy. This is nuts. I sincerely hope 11 in carts. I sincerely hope this is not the price for a single booster box. This is just 12 packs. 12 packs. Basically, that's what is in a booster box. And they're trying to sell it right now for $650. Of course, I don't think it's been released yet. So this is like the speculative price, so it could go down. But so if you want this card's kind of cool, I'd like to get, how about you pay, $500, $600 for it? Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. I think it is going to go down a little bit after release, but holy shit. People, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people? How could this have this level, this price? It's insane. These collector boxes should only be like, maybe like 100. I don't know what their actual like retail price is, their MSRP is, but holy smokes. Let's see. Final Fantasy. Does it have an MSRP? Oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's actually MSRP is. No, I guess it doesn't. They don't have an MSRP. Insane. It's just insane. Does Amazon have MSRP? I don't see that here. Anyway, that's crazy. And the fact that like I look at this stuff and like, oh man, I kind of want to buy that. I feel bad about it. Because I hate Universes Beyond, but damn, the art looks great. The art is fantastic. Well, let's move on, guys. It's game of the week here. My game of the week this week is good old Starcraft 2. I've been playing the campaign, and it's been a lot of fun. I do want to get into the multiplayer of it, but I've just sort of been chilling out in the campaign, trying to get my.
We are preparing to siege the warp network at Karasan now.
Yeah, Magic after Wizards of the Coast. What a shit show. It is a mess. But StarCraft 2 RTSs, I haven't played an RTS in a long time, but they're great. And the fact that they can be very intense. Unfortunately, this is like the tutorial. I took it from so I got a tutorial mission where it's just like, hey, select your whole army and then just attack move into the enemy. They're not really helping you learn how to play the game properly. Not just attack move with a giant mess of people. But it is a ton of fun. It's still, I think the graphics still hold up too. They look pretty darn good. I think this game's like, is it 20 years old at this point?
I have diverted some colossi to join your
Starcraft
forces.
2 release.
Keep them well, Artanis.
Release date was 2010. It's 15 years old. 15-year-old game. But I mean, with like an RTS, you always have to keep moving. You have to keep macroing. So it is a game that is very intense. You know, you don't necessarily have like a time clock, though on some of these missions you do have a time clock. So you do have time pressure, but I mean, there's always the expectation. And in campaign, it may not be the same. Like if you take too long, that you're eventually just going to get overrun. In multiplayer, it certainly is, but... So RTSs still have that kind of like intense level of gameplay, but the genre seemed like it kind of faded with the rise of sort of MOBAs. Because in MOBA, you have like the team aspect of it. You have some of the more compulsive play aspects of it, like new releases, live service. There's like new champions and skins and all this other stuff to enjoy. And of course, I don't think it has the same... RTSs or MOBAs are a lot easier to play than an RTS. You don't have to manage a bunch of stuff, so it doesn't have that same barrier to entry. Like right now, it seems like everything is about making it as frictionless as possible. You have a game that's not going to disappoint players. Is not going to be hard to get into. You just want to get the maximum amount of people that you can playing the game, which means designs that like make more demands on players just isn't the same. I love that mothership flying over. It's pretty cool.
As you command.
I wish they did. They have some cutscenes, which they do take time. But the fact that a lot of this stuff is kind of like done in game while you can play, I think is very good. I love that type of storytelling where it's just like, hey, stuff's happening in game. There's no break in the action.
Hives in the surrounding area. Destroying them would deal the Zerg a crippling blow.
Yeah, Starcraft 2. The last, and I think you can play it for free. You can't play all the campaigns for free, but I believe you can play Wings of Liberty for free, and then they charge you for like $30 if you want all the campaigns, or they charge you like per stuff, per campaign. Though I think you could also get it at a discount during like certain sales time. But StarCraft 2, lots of fun. I will have to get into the multiplayer. I will have to try it out. I've been playing since Brood Wars. Yeah, Brood Wars is awesome. And they do have the remastered as well. They came out with a StarCraft 1 remastered not that long ago. It was a lot of fun. I'll have to try StarCraft remastered at some point too.
Thank you for your aid.
The old school StarCraft. I've been watching some Always Play as Terran. I'm a Zerg player for sure, through and through. Of course, I have my Tyranids on my desk right now, so I like this sort of style, the aesthetic of the Zerg.
This hive cluster has fallen.
It's fun. Even this is kind of fun. It's super easy right now. This is like the easiest mission ever. You literally I'm just attack moving into the enemies. But this is the first mission that I just wanted to record a little bit for footage. StarCraft, man, it's badass. I do like the missions that involve a little more building, the base building, and then like scouting it out and trying to fight. One of the annoying things is I think a Korean company recently bought the StarCraft IP. Really? Oh yeah. Nexon is said to have acquired this. If Korean Xenia company is such as Maple Story. Well, that's cool. 13 games ago. Was that just for the Chinese release, though? Mm-hmm. Or maybe they're just...
Another hive lies in ruins. Only one remains, my warriors.
I don't know how I feel about that. It's, oh, it's misleading. Is it misleading? Got a bid to develop a game with the start. It does not own the IP rights. Okay. So they have a license for it. They have a license for the game. I thought they were going to, like, release it in China, you know, like certain... You have to kind of, like, go through companies to get it released in China. But maybe, I guess, Nexon wants to make a Starcraft game for, with the IP, which is interesting. I don't know if it's going to be an RTS, but at the same time, EA isn't doing anything with the IP. Yeah, or you know, I think Microsoft owns Blizzard at the moment. So yeah, they're not doing anything with the IP or the R. I don't think they have any plans to release an RTS. It doesn't seem that popular right now, but it could definitely. I think it definitely could sell. But I don't know if it would sell as well if it didn't have the sort of like Blizzard name behind it. But you never know. It depends on how bad Blizzard's reputation's in the toilet right now. I don't know what they do with StarCraft, but with the IP, like what type of game they'd make. It might be kind of a cool idea. I do like the StarCraft universe. It's a cool it's a pretty cool setting. It's like the sci-fi, very much 40K, like not quite the same, not quite as dark fantasy. It's more like it goes more into like the sci-fi realm. That's still pretty cool.
An unseen hand moves them. We must be on guard.
That's the game of the week, StarCraft 2. Like it's been a blast playing it. It's been hard to put it down. And I do need to like get into multiplayer though. I'm sure I'm gonna get my ass beat. I was looking at my like hotkeys, my hand placements, like I'm misclicking. I'm having a hard time microing the stuff, but in some ways I think it'd be a little easier to do than the campaign, because the campaign there's always like a gimmick. With multiplayer you can have like a normal build order that you sort of slightly deviate from. But if you get that down, you can get used to it. There's some consistency with it. The maps are the same; they don't change, but you still have to learn the stuff. So it's just putting in the time and effort to learn it. Words they might produce a MOBA. Oh, I guess that makes sense. Though Blizzard already produced a MOBA, so maybe they're just trying something different. Heroes of the Storm, I don't think did all that well. And maybe they can make something that's a little different than the usual MOBA. I think MOBA is a genre that's kind of like, again, kind of gone away a little bit. Eventually it faded as a trend. Hopefully it's not like a phone MOBA. Those things are always trash. But guys, that's it. That's it for the episode. Thank you very much. Be sure to like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys joining me. Good to see all you guys in here. Nuke, Bull, Ryan, Jack, the First 48 Gaming, Deborah, X-Runner, all you guys. I think I got everybody. Silver Bishop, John Watts. Always good to see you guys. We're going to, I'm going to redirect. I think Hawk at this point has got, let's see if Hawk's got post 0 posted yet. And I'll redirect you to it. I don't see it on the list. I think Red Hawk's hosting. Let me see. Maybe not. What are we doing here? Let me check. So I think Red's got the link. Let's see.
Outriders are moving to take this fight across the
Red
surface.
Hawk.
Take command of the invasion, Executor. Zeratul.
The Red Hawk.
Let's discuss this
I
most
don't.
recent turn of events further.
I don't see. Oh wait, it's Red Pilled Hawk. What am I doing? He doesn't have it posted yet, so I can't redirect it. But we'll be sure to look for it at some point. It's gonna get posted. I'll like repost it on Twitter if you're there. And I'll talk to you later, guys. Thank you for joining me.